Hello everyone, this is J-2, and this is going to be the first of what will probably be 4 videos about the German heavy fighter line, or bomber hunter line. And I reckon I will do the Tier 1 and Tier 2 today in this video, and then Tier 3 and maybe 2 videos, and then one solid video about the Tier 4 heavy fighter, the ME410 B6R3. But today we're going to have a close look at this baby, the BF110 C-4, sitting at Tier 1, and then after that we're gonna have a close look at the Dornier 217 J-1, who will probably show up soon here. Yeah, this magnificent airplane. And after that we'll have a close look at the Dornier 217 J-2, and I aim to show you the differences between these 3 planes, and how you can or may play them in historical battle. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna first show you a control test where I attack AI bombers to see whether these 3 planes actually are historically accurate. And they're going to go up against bombers that they were fighting against during the Second World War. And after that we're going to see some footage of me taking these planes out into realistic battles against other players and see how they perform. So without further delay, let's skip straight to the action. So here I am over Britain, and I'm trying out the BF110 against the Wellington Mark III that you will probably encounter when flying this plane. And saying that the one and only role of the BF110 was to hunt bombers is not entirely correct, because during the early stages of the war, especially during the Polish, Norwegian and the French campaign, the BF110 was used as a fighter against enemy fighters, and it had some success as a fighter. But after it came into combat with the British fighters during the Blitz and the battle for Britain, the Luftwaffe came to terms that that BF110 was maybe not the best alternative for fighting against more agile fighters. So it was put to the role as a hunter bomber instead, and later on during the war became a night bomber hunter. So yeah, what do I think about this plane? Well, it's not entirely bad as a fighter, as we will see here. It can certainly down some airplanes, and it's not bad. It has very good firepower. It has a burst mass of 2.8 kilos per second, and that's better than any other German single engine fighter of its rank. So that's certainly not bad, and you can if you get half a chance, you will down airplanes like no other fighter. So at this rank, unless you get drawn into a turn fight against British planes, or let's say USSR light fighters who are made for turning, you're gonna have a good time with it. Just take it easy and don't turn too much. Which leads us over to a downside of this plane, as you already have spotted. Once you turn, it gets sort of wobbly and it loses a lot of speed in a turn because of the great surface area of the wings. So watch out for that. And it also has 2 engines, which makes it able to take a lot more damage than the average single engine fighter. So what that means is that if one of your engines get problems or it get damaged, you may still return to base on your better engine. Another drawback with this airplane is that the faster bombers, such as the Blenheim and the Beaufort and the A-20 Havoc, as well as I guess the Boston, but I haven't really met it yet in combat, is that they are faster than you. So unless you have the altitude advantage, you won't catch them in straight flight. So that's a little drawback with this plane. But if you get close, your cannons and machine guns will tear them apart without any problems. And also it has some defensive armament. And that is a tail gunner sitting at the back of the cockpit, and he's controlling twin light machine gun turret. So if you get airplanes behind you, you may still defend yourself using that machine gun. So that's a good thing about this plane. So all in all, this is a good training airplane for the late ranks and the heavy fighters that you will get later on. Learn how to boom and zoom fight with this plane, and later on you will have no problems. So now over to the Dornier 217. This is of course the J-1 model. And what's special about it? Well, it's a big airplane, and just like the BF110, it has a twin engine. And for a plane this size, it's a very maneuverable plane. I was quite surprised when I flew it the first time, because it's so maneuverable, and it has a good roll rate, a good speed. Like you see here, I actually catch a B-17, which is a plane that is actually over my level in rank. And it also has some great firepower. It has 4 20mm NG 151 cannons and 200 rounds for each cannon, and it also has 4 light machine gun. That gives the airplane a burst mass of 4.8 kilos per second, giving the airplane a good chance against any bomber in the game. Actually, like you see here, I have no problems making a B-17 catch fire or shooting them out of the skies. So being a rank 2 airplane with a battle rank of 3.3 is it's a little bit low I think, because if you know what you're doing when you're flying this plane, it can be quite the seal clubber, as you will see in this clip. This is actually one of my best games I've ever played in War Thunder, realistic battles. So what I did initially was that I went for the B-17 formation for two reasons. The first one being completing the quests and giving us the upper hand in the battle, and the second one was to have a sort of a control test with this airplane. And I thought that, okay, let's go and test the plane out against the B-17s, a task for which it should be totally unsuitable, I thought. This was the result. The result was that I shot down 4 of them. Oh, of course with some help from my friends there, but an amazing result. So after I attacked the B-17s, I went back to land to get new ammunition, and after that I went for the enemy fighters. And the rest of this clip will show you some of the strengths of this airplane. I think it's a lovely airplane. It's very good. It obviously has some drawbacks, but firepower and ammunition isn't one of them. I mentioned the good roll rate and speed, and also the flight model seems a bit generous on this plane, because you know you can roll with it very good. It doesn't climb all that good, but it's sufficient, I would say, for what it's supposed to do. And the turn time isn't the best. It makes a full 360 degree turn in 37.5 seconds, which is a lot. So you can't turn fight in this plane, but you can use your speed to boom and zoom the enemy, as you will see that I do here when I spot this Avenger, and I dive in for the kill. So this is the preferred way of attacking with this plane. You drop down and you give them one burst, and then you try to get another shot off if you get the chance. You do not want to engage in a turn fight with an enemy fighter or any kind of plane, actually. So I took my 2 bursts at him, and then I took off to gain some separation, and then I turned left again, came in to crit him enough so that he would go down. And that's the first player kill of the game. So after that I had a look around quick, and I moved over to the center area of the map to have another look after enemy fighters. I spot this Spitfire. I'm thinking that I should pursue him, because he is probably slower than I am, and I'm seeing that he's far away, and he doesn't know that I'm there, so I leave him alone and I decide to engage him later on. Because if I would have pursued him, I might have gotten this Avenger behind me. So I decided to attack him first. And this poor guy was actually just trying to get some ground targets. So I almost felt bad here. But hey, I wanted to win the game, so I took the shot. And I could see that Spitfire had turned around to help his teammate. I'm thinking that I might risk a head-on pass with this guy, because the Spitfire's gun convergence is often set to 200-300 meters, and that gives me the upper hand, considering that I have nose-mounted machine guns and autocannons. So I took the risk and it paid off. And here I go to aid my teammates with that Typhoon, because I'm suspecting that my teammate is returning to base and he's out of ammo or low on fuel. And as I make my way over there, I spot this Wellington coming in low at my 2 o'clock, so I take the opportunity and I dive on them. And I try to get a quick kill here, so I can turn up and engage that Typhoon. And luckily I light him. I set him on fire. And I'm amazed by the sight, so I take a screenshot. Okay, so now I make my way over to the Typhoon. And while I'm flying there, I see that our friendly AAA is shooting at something. I try to spot a possible enemy airplane over Bastogne, but I can't see any. So I decide not to break off and go into a head-on pass with this Typhoon. I'm thinking that he might have a lot of machine guns, but they're all light machine guns, so I might have a good chance here of taking him out. My aim isn't the best, so that's not the kill. I try to injure or crit him with the tail gunner instead. So I swing around to help my teammate. And I have a look around. Can't see anyone else. And there's the enemy fighter that the AAA was shooting at. It's a Hurricane. So I decide to go after him because he's behind my friend. So I loop around and I barrel roll out and I dive down on him and get some shots in, and he breaks off, and I decide not to enter a turn fight with him. I'm taking the decision that this Typhoon is more important to kill. Get some hits in, and he's going down, I think. So I turn off. And I engage that Hurricane. Once more in head-on pass. And he's shredded. And I turn back around to see whether the Typhoon is dead or not, and I can't spot him. And I see on the roster that they're all dead. So that's game in the Dornier 217. And let's have a look at some post-battle statistics. So you can see here that I got almost 100,000 lions. That's not bad for a rank 2 airplane. And I got in total 9 kills, 4 bots and an ace against the enemy fighters and bombers, of course. So that's not all too bad. So the Dornier 270 J-1 is a great airplane. Now let's go over to the J-2 model. And here's the J-2, and I've set it up in a control test against Lancaster heavy bombers. And I was suspecting that I would have no problem with taking down Lancasters in this plane, given its great armament. But it turned out to be quite a difficult case for this airplane. It's not all that fast. Well, it's not slow, but the Lancaster is not really a slow airplane either. So if you get any engine trouble or damage, you will fall behind these planes. But then again, you won't meet them in game. This was what these planes did during the war. So I thought it would be funny to test it out. But you can still shoot them down, but it will cost you. As you can see here, on fire. And I'm slowly burning up, trying to get some vengeance. So let's go over to some actual gameplay against other players. So here I am over Sicily, flying the Dornier 217 J-2, and I'm being chased by this P400. I'm trying to turn around to face him, but I see that he's too close. I had to dive for it. So, are there any differences between the Dornier 270 J-1 model and the J-2? Well, for starters, this J-2 model actually has radar in the nose. So it's made for hunting bombers during the night. It's a night fighter, Whether that's something that's gonna make a change in the game later on or not, I don't know. But if we get the possibility of using radar, this will be a better plane than the J-1 version. But apart from that, there's not really much of a difference between the airplanes, except for paint scheme and the radar, sort of cosmetic changes. This plane has the same rank and the same battle rating as the J-1 model, so you're gonna find yourself facing B-25 medium bombers, and if you go up against them you will have some difficulties catching up, because their top speed is only 100 kilometers lower than yours. So that's gonna be a problem, especially if you're at the lower altitude than the B-25. Then it won't be all that certain that you will catch them, because this, just as the J-1 model, is somewhat of a bad climber. It's fast and it has the same great firepower, but it can't climb all that good. What it can though is that it can take some damage. So here's the J-2 model after I had a little control test against those B-17s on the bulge map, and here you can see how badly beaten it is. Everything is black except for flaps and rudders and engines. And the left engine is actually smoking. So how's the Dornier J-2 as a fighter? Can you engage fighters in it? Of course you can, but you need to plan your approach carefully, and you need to, as I've said before, you can't let yourself get caught up in turn fights with it. So you need to think ahead about what you're doing at all times and play carefully. But you can absolutely shoot down fighters if they give you the chance. Just watch your 6 so you don't get caught by Yak 9T while doing it, because that will break your plane. So ladies and gentlemen, that was all for me, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you for watching.